Hi, I'm Jenna. I'm a member of the Student Council Association, or SCA, at my school. With my mom and dad's help, I've launched a series of interviews with community and state politicians to learn more about their work. Stay tuned. I think one of these days I hope to interview President Obama. You never know until you try. I actually think I might have to try more than a few times to pull that one off. Recently, I had the opportunity to interview Virginia House of Representatives Congressman Connelly.
It's probably 70 or 80,000 square miles. Our district is less than 300 square miles.
What is your elected job?
My elected job is to represent the people of the 11th District of Virginia in the United States Congress. And that includes Prince William County, Fairfax County, Fairfax City, and a number of towns.
What things do you do in your job?
What things do I do? Well, let's see, it depends whether Congress is in session or not. Like this week, Congress is not in session, and so I'm spending my time here in the district. When we're in session, when Congress is in session, I spend a lot of my time going to hearings, voting on the floor, and going to briefings and meetings with constituents and experts who help us better understand the issues behind legislation.
How do you keep your job?
The way any elected official keeps his or her job is by communing with the voters and hopefully delivering for your constituents so that they renew your lease on that job every 2 or 4 years. In my case, it's every 2 years. So ultimately, it's the voters who make up their minds about whether I deserve my job or not.
How long does it take to get elected?
Well, my term is for 2 years, and so every other year is an election year, and I would say it takes the better part of that whole year.
Do you meet with other politicians, and what do you talk about?
Sure, I meet with other elected officials for lots of different reasons. It depends who we're talking about, right? So if I'm meeting with local government officials here in Prince William County, I'm talking about issues that matter to Prince William County and to the elected officials I may be meeting with on the board or school board or in the state legislature, and trying to be helpful to them. They have needs and desires and questions, and so I try to be of help to them. At the federal level in the Congress, obviously I'm meeting with other fellow elected officials who are members of Congress to try to build coalitions of support for legislative initiatives.
Do you get days off?
Not many. Usually Christmas we have off. Easter I have off. Other than that, most holidays are actually big event days for elected officials, so I'm going to parades and picnics and barbecues and rallies and so forth. You're in public life, you work most nights and most weekends.
What is your favorite part of the job?
I think my favorite part of the job is meeting people and hearing their stories and trying to help them when they need help. That's the most satisfying part of the job. I really enjoy hearing people's life stories, and I really I find it very, very satisfying if I can try to help somebody who has a problem.
What is the hardest part of your job?
I think the hardest part of the job maybe is that our political system does not lend itself very well right now to compromise and to people coming together. We're very polarized, I think, in our politics throughout the country, and certainly in our legislative bodies. And I find that frustrating because when I served for many years in local government, where actually that was not the case. We came together and got things done for the common good. Much harder to do at the federal level in national politics for lots of different reasons. And I think that's the hardest part of the job for me.
Do you talk to kids in school about politics?
I do. I go to lots of schools and in lots of different roles. So for example, I do reading to the second grade and the first grade and third grade on Dr. Seuss Day, on his birthday. I always pick several schools where I go and read. every year. Sometimes I give lectures to civics classes in high school or middle school. Sometimes I've been invited actually to give the graduation, the commencement address at some schools. And we do other reach out. You know, I go to robotics competition teams, and I go to cybersecurity competition teams in high schools. So lots of interaction with schools and lots of different levels.
When did you start in politics and why?
Well, at one level, I've always been interested in politics. I've always been interested in the political process as a way to solve problems for people. How do you make government work? How do you make the system work on behalf of people who have a need? And especially for people who otherwise their voice might not always be heard, right? So part of representation is making sure that their voice is heard. You have to be their voice for them. You know, it's called public service, and public service has always been very important to me since I was a young person.
For PWCS TV, this is Jenna, iReporter.